Why do the rich continue to get richer, while almost everyone else struggles just to get by? Here's the truth. It's not about luck, intelligence, or even working harder. It's about the rules of the game. The top 1% are playing by a completely different set of rules than the other 99%. And until you learn those rules, you'll always be stuck on the outside, working harder and harder just to stay in place. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad's Guide to Investing, learned this lesson early in life. He had two father figures: his poor dad who worked hard, earned degrees, and still lived paycheck to paycheck, and his rich dad who never finished college but understood money. One stayed trapped in the system. The other built systems that created wealth. The difference wasn't talent. It was mindset and strategy. In this video, we're breaking down Kiyosaki's exact investing principles, straight from Rich Dad's Guide to Investing. You'll see how the rich think differently, how they use money to create more money, and how you can start applying the same rules in your own life. Stick with me until the end, because by the time we're done, you'll see exactly why the 1% keep getting richer and how you can join them. From the time we're kids, most of us are taught the same formula for success. Go to school, get good grades, land a secure job, save money, and someday retire. Sounds safe, right? But Robert Kiyosaki argues that this formula is broken. Why? Because it keeps you working for money instead of learning how to make money work for you. Here's the problem. Most people believe investing is only for geniuses, millionaires, or insiders with secret information. They think they don't have enough money, don't have enough education, or that investing is too risky for regular people, and so they never start. Meanwhile, the rich understand something different. They don't rely on salaries or savings accounts. They use assets, businesses, real estate, investments, and systems to create streams of income that keep flowing whether they're working or not. The result, while the poor and middle class stay trapped in the cycle of trading time for money, the rich multiply their wealth year after year. That's the painful truth. Working harder will never close the gap. You need a different playbook, and that's exactly what you're about to learn. So if you want more game-changing financial wisdom like this, make sure to hit subscribe, because now we're diving into Kiyosaki's first rule of investing, the mindset shift that separates the rich from everyone else. Rule 1. The mindset shift. Work to learn, not to earn. The very first rule Kiyosaki teaches is about mindset. Most people say, I need to earn more money. The rich ask, what can I learn that will make me money for the rest of my life? This is the core difference. The poor and middle classes focus on income. The rich focus on education, financial education. Kiyosaki's story makes this crystal clear. His poor dad, his biological father, was a smart man with advanced degrees. He believed in job security and climbing the corporate ladder. But despite his education, he was constantly under financial pressure. His rich dad, his best friend's father, never finished college, yet he became wealthy by learning how money works. He studied assets, liabilities, and the psychology of risk. He told young Robert, the rich don't work for money. They make money work for them. So what's the practical lesson? Poor and middle-class people often buy liabilities they mistake for assets, such as cars, larger houses, and gadgets. These drain money every month. The rich buy assets, businesses, real estate, stocks, intellectual property that generate income. This mindset shift also changes how you approach work. Instead of asking, how much does this job pay? Ask, what can I learn here that will help me build wealth later? Skills in accounting, investing, sales, negotiation, or leadership can pay you for decades. Think of it like planting seeds. A paycheck feeds you for a week, but a skill, once mastered, can feed you for life. The rich aren't obsessed with job titles or promotions. They're obsessed with knowledge and assets. That's why their wealth multiplies while others stay stuck. Rule 2. The 3 types of investors. Robert Kiyosaki makes it clear not all investors are the same. In fact, he divides them into 3 levels. And anyone who wants to build lasting wealth must climb through each stage. The smart consumer. This is the starting line. A smart consumer realizes they must spend less than they earn and create surplus capital. They may not be investing much yet, but they're learning the first rule of wealth: control your expenses. If you can't generate surplus, you'll never have the fuel to invest. The investor in learning. This stage is all about education. These investors study by reading books, taking courses, and experimenting with small investments. They make mistakes, but instead of fearing failure, they treat every mistake as tuition. Kiyosaki emphasizes that this stage separates those who are serious about wealth from those who just chase shortcuts. The sophisticated investor. This is the ultimate goal. A sophisticated investor doesn't just invest in opportunities. They build systems. They might own a business that generates consistent cash flow, a real estate portfolio that pays for itself, or funds that steadily compound. These investors leverage knowledge, laws, and often other people's money and time to create assets that work around the clock. Kiyosaki warns that most people never move past the first stage. They save a little, dabble in stocks or mutual funds, but they never develop the skills and structures that create true wealth. So here's the question for you. Which level are you at today, and what will it take for you to climb to the next one this year? Rule 3. The power of systems. One of Kiyosaki's core teachings is that the rich don't just own assets, they own systems. A system is a structure that produces income consistently, whether you're working or not. A business is a system. A rental property portfolio that generates monthly rent is a system. Even an automated investment strategy, like regularly funding index funds, can be a system. The point is this: systems create predictable, recurring cash flow without demanding constant labor. Most people, when they want to earn more money, look for a side hustle or a second job. But that's still trading time for money. True freedom begins only when you build a system that pays you month after month, no matter what you're doing, working, traveling, or even sleeping. Kiyosaki often drew a sharp line between a side hustle and true passive income. A side hustle is just another job, but it depends on you showing up. Passive income means owning an asset that does the work for you. The rich invest in assets, not extra shifts. Here's an example. Someone who owns a small apartment building has a system. Every month, tenants pay rent. That money flows in regardless of whether the owner is on vacation. Or consider a business with strong processes and a reliable team. Even when the owner steps away, the system continues to generate revenue. Kiyosaki's advice is blunt. Don't focus on how much money you make. Focus on what systems you own. So here's your challenge. Do you already have at least one system that pays you even when you're not working? If not, what could your first system be? Rule 4. Taxes, laws, and leverage. One of the biggest secrets of the rich is that they understand the rules of the game that most people ignore: taxes, laws, and leverage. Kiyosaki points out a harsh reality: the middle class often pays the highest percentage of taxes. Employees have taxes taken directly from their paycheck before they ever see it. Meanwhile, the wealthy use corporations, trusts, and partnerships to legally minimize taxes and protect their wealth. They know that tax codes are written to reward investors, entrepreneurs, and job creators, not employees. Then comes leverage. Most people fear debt because they use it poorly, buying cars, credit card luxuries, or liabilities that drain money. The rich use debt differently. They borrow to buy assets that generate more income than the cost of the loan. For example, buying a property with a mortgage and then renting it out so that tenants' payments cover the loan and still provide a cash flow. But leverage isn't only about money, it's also about time and knowledge. The wealthy build teams and systems, leveraging other people's skills to multiply results. Instead of asking, "How can I do this by myself?" they ask, "Who can help me do this better and faster?" This is why the wealth gap tends to widen over time. The middle class works harder, pays more in taxes, and avoids debt altogether. The rich, on the other hand, master the system, use leverage intelligently, and watch their wealth compound exponentially. So the key question is this: are you letting taxes, debt, and laws work against you, or have you learned how to make them work in your favor? Rule 5. Risk and discipline. Most people are terrified of risk. They see investing as gambling: either you win big or you lose everything. But Robert Kiyosaki flips that idea. The rich don't avoid risk. They learn how to manage it. The difference comes down to education and discipline. The average person avoids risk because they don't understand it. Their money sits idle in a savings account, losing value to inflation. The rich take the time to study markets, understand financial statements, and test small investments before making bigger moves. Every mistake becomes a lesson, not a permanent defeat. Kiyosaki often said the greatest investment you can ever make is in yourself. Learning accounting, negotiation, real estate, or entrepreneurship reduces risk with every new skill you master. Fear comes from ignorance, and ignorance is curable, but education alone isn't enough. Discipline is the second half of the equation. The rich don't panic when markets fall, and they don't get greedy when prices soar. They stick to their strategy. When everyone else sells in fear, the disciplined investor sees opportunity. When the crowd chases hype, the disciplined investor waits patiently. The truth is, most investors fail not because they chose the wrong stocks, but because they lack the discipline to hold their winners long enough. Wealth grows slowly, steadily. Like a tree, it takes time, consistency, and patience to see the results. Kiyosaki's message is clear. Risk is part of the game. But if you master risk through education and discipline, money becomes your hardest working employee. So ask yourself, when faced with risk, do you back away or do you learn how to handle it so it works in your favor? So what have we learned from Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad's Guide to Investing? Shift your mindset, work to learn, not just to earn. Move through the 3 levels of investors from smart consumer to sophisticated investor. Build systems that generate cash flow whether you're working or not. Master taxes, laws, and leverage so they work for you, not against you. Embrace risk but manage it with education and discipline. This is why the rich continue to get richer. They're not playing by the same rules the middle class and poor are taught. They've created their own game and now you know the rules too. But remember, knowledge alone doesn't make you wealthy. Applying these principles does. So here's my challenge to you. Which of these 5 rules will you start applying today? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to see your plan. If this video gave you value, hit subscribe so you never miss the strategies that can change your financial future. And share this with a friend who still believes working harder is the answer they need to heal. Finally, if you want to go deeper, I highly recommend The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. It's the perfect companion to Kiyosaki's wisdom, because mastering money isn't just about numbers, it's about mastering your own mind.